There are so many random things you can do in Baldur's Gate 3 that are not only viable but highly encouraged, like raising the dead and forcing them to talk to you, or disguising yourself as a cute elf to sneak into areas. Today we're going to go through 25 things that you can do in Baldur's Gate 3 that you may not know. Let's go! I want to make this a little challenge. I want you to keep track of how many of these 25 that you knew before watching this video and comment it down below. No lying, people. I'll know if you lied and Karlach will be sad. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Bloodline Heroes of Lythis. Bloodline Heroes of Lythis is a hero collector fantasy RPG with a fantastic art style in which you can build your kingdom and collect champions to defeat it. What's different about Bloodline is that the heroes are unique, as you can breed your own heroes, combining any of the heroes to create your own personal hybrids. Download and try the game for free using my link or scan the QR code on the screen and receive an amazing starter pack. The game is designed with stunning graphics to provide a top-tier visual experience on mobile phones and smart pads. New characters are released each fortnight with sleek designs and unique abilities like the new Goat Folk Stone Throwers or the Titan Warriors. All these characters can be bred to create hybrids, totaling over 1,000 hybrids with the most unique gacha gameplay out there, as they inherit not only the talents and traits of their parents, but also their unique appearances that are passed down from each family tree and fused into a new one. Your characters can then be deployed into a visually stunning 3D, vast and realistic fantasy world. There is also rewarding late game PvPers for you PvPers out there with seasonal guild wars. New bloodlines and legendary hybrids are constantly being added to the game, so the possibilities are endless for you to seek out your favorite hybrid creation to suit your style. Download the game for free and use my link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. Thank you Bloodline Heroes of Lythis for sponsoring this video. Alright, so let's start with some easy ones and then we'll get into some more nitty gritty. So firstly, you can speak to animals. You probably knew this via the Speak to Animal spell. There's also potions that can do this for you as well. This will help you progress certain quests, as well as just give you interesting little tidbits about the world. Speak to the Dead is the same in that you can cast this and you'll have it active until the next long rest. You can either do this via the amulet from Wither's Crypt or via a spell, and they can also give you useful information about certain quests that you are doing. Disguise Self allows you to disguise yourself as a different person, but you can also do this with disguise kits that you can find throughout the world. The Knock spell allows you to unlock doors without having to go through the skill check, and conversely you can use Arcane Lock to lock doors if you want to, say, cut enemies off from the current group that you're fighting. You want to lock them behind a door so they can't actually get to you for a couple of turns. Some spells like Longstrider are ritual spells in that they won't consume a spell slot when you use them, and they also last until the next long rest. So if you have Longstrider, you can essentially have someone just cast this, everyone just gets a free increase in their movement speed, and you can continue with your day. If people are actually watching doors and you can't sneak past them because it's in their line of sight, you can use invisibility, which will actually allow you to sneak past them because you're invisible, so they can't see you unless they have see invisibility active. Your inventory is a mess, and so is mine. All right, that's not an insult, but you can search your inventory via the search function. You can just type in what you're looking for, and you can also do this with spells, which is hugely useful for wizards who just have a ton of spells in their spellbook. If you want help sorting that inventory, you can actually pick up loot containers like backpacks and pouches and that sort of thing and hold them in your inventory and put certain items into them to sort of help you sort that inventory. You'll still be able to use them as if you normally would. It'll just like help get rid of that general clutter in like your giant inventory box, which mine looks terrible. You can also pick up any chests and things that you find throughout the world that say you just like can't lockpick right now. You can pick them up and send them to your camp and store them there until maybe someone can pass that lockpicking check, or if you're using Knock, for example, then someone gets the spell check to be able to clear that. You also technically have an unlimited carry weight, as basically everything you find throughout the world, you can just send it directly to your traveler's chest in your camp via the send to camp option, and then you can just go to your camp and grab it out when you do actually need it, because you can just travel to your camp whenever you like for the most part. Speaking of that inventory management, Zedra makes a great comment on one of my videos pointing out that you can press tab in the inventory page to bring up your entire team's inventory. You can also do this for the spell books and the character sheets. It's just useful if you're looking to control everyone at once. And your camp supplies should also be left in your camp chest. You don't actually need to carry these around with you. It's just like wasted carry weight, as when you're at your camp and you access the fire to rest, it'll still pick those up anyway, so you can do that without having to carry them. Also, speaking of long resting, it's a blessing and a curse. It will often trigger story beats while you're at camp, so in that way it's a good thing, but also if you're in the middle of something in the open world, you will progress events on that day without you actually being there. So just be careful and mindful when you do choose to long rest. Like if you've walked into an area like a building that's on fire and you just choose to end the day, as the captain points out, this probably won't end well. If everyone in your party fails checks, you can go to camp and switch out into new party members and have them try that exact same check. check. You just can't try it again with that exact same party member, so go and switch them out, try and pass that check. If you pass it, you can just go back and switch your party back. For the console homies, you can actually customize that weapon wheel, that radial wheel that pops up. You can create your own radials and customize it how you like. And for the PC homies, you can actually extend your toolbar upwards so you can actually show all of the spells available to you, especially when your spellbook gets very, very large. In the options menu, there is this option for karmic dice. Now, essentially what this does is essentially like loaded dice. It'll prevent you from having like a bunch of miss streaks or a bunch of success streaks. It'll just sort of give you a bit more of a general sort of even playing field. But turning this off is actually probably a good thing, as it will get rid of that loaded dice, especially if you've got characters that have like a huge amount of armor class, like say my paladin that has 22 armor class. Having this option off, he actually doesn't get hit as much because of that loaded dice. He seems like he gets hit more, but conversely, you will actually miss more as well because you don't have loaded dice. So if you want to keep this on to avoid turns where everyone misses, which absolutely happens when you have this off, then that's up to your consideration, but just something to point out. Speaking of dice, on that skill check screen, you can change the color of your dice on the bottom left hand corner. If you're in dialogue and you think it's going to break out into a fight, you can character select a different member of your party and have them position themselves for actually being fight ready. This is super helpful if you don't get the first action in that fight scene and then your team isn't actually just standing all next to each other and get absolutely swamped by attack. You may know this one, but if you don't have any healing spells available to you, you can throw healing potions at allies to heal them, but just don't actually hit them with the potion because getting hit in the face with a glass bottle does hurt. But it's also worth pointing out that the potion of haste is a free win condition. This gives you more movement speed and an additional action in combat, and you can throw this on the ground and hit multiple of your allies with one potion of haste to get additional actions in a combat encounter. It's a great buff for difficult encounters. You can also throw weapons, and some weapons have unique effects when thrown, like returning back to your hand or dealing a little explosion. You can pop a candle on the ground and then dip your weapon in it to add some fire damage to that weapon, and then once you're done with that candle, you can just put it back in your inventory. You can also carry crates or boxes in your inventory and then stack them on top of each other before a fight breaks out, and then have a character climb on top for some free high ground. High ground gives you a +2 to your attack roll when you're making attack rolls in combat, so it just allows you to hit more often. But you can also use these crates for certain puzzles in the games where you need to cover up vents. It's often good to have a high strength character just carry around some boxes just in case you need them. You can also toggle on the non-lethal damage passive in your passives tab. This will stop you from killing people unnecessary. Say for example, if you've accidentally started a fight, you don't want to kill them, or potentially you just don't want to kill them. Say if they're a vendor, if you knock them out, you can then steal their inventories rather than killing them, which will get rid of most of their inventories. It's also worth noting sometimes this is a little bugged right now, as some quests will register that you've killed someone rather than knocking them out, though I do expect this will get fixed in upcoming patches, as it seems like it should be relevant for certain things where you can actually knock people out rather than killing them, but it's just worth calling out that that is an option. And a bonus tip or things you should know is that you should go to Withers and hire a druid from the hirelings menu. Even if you're never going to use this person in combat, they will give you access to a bunch of things, like a lot of the spells we talked about earlier, like speak to animals or speak to the dead. You can also allow them to wild shape into different forms, like a badger to burrow into certain areas under the ground, or a raven to fly across gaps, or a cat to distract people or sneak into small areas. Druids are amazing for these sort of interactions in the sandbox. They can be super helpful to bring with you and just have them in your camp, so you can go back to your camp if you want to grab them to just do something in the world. And that is everything, guys. Let me know how many of these you knew in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you Bloodline Heroes of License for sponsoring this video. Thank you to the members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.